Excellencies, distinguished ministers, colleagues from the space industry and international community, ladies and gentlemen, namaste. It is a great honor to address you at the 5th India Space Congress, and I want to begin by thanking Anil, Rajiv and the entire SIA-INDIA team for their generous invitation and for building this Congress into one of the most important gatherings in the global space calendar. I'm sorry I'm not with you in person on this occasion. While this important event takes place in New Delhi, here in Vienna we are also having important discussions right now as COPUOS, the Multilateral Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, which is currently taking place here. COPUOS sessions are a moment to hear about what different UN member states are doing in space. And when it comes to India, we are living through a remarkable moment in its space story. From the moment Chandrayaan-3 touched down near the lunar South Pole, a place that no mission had ever reached before, India did not simply join a club of spacefaring nations. India redefined who that club is for. Mangalyaan, Navik-C, the unbroken record of the PSLV, and now the rapid rise of an Indian commercial space ecosystem that is growing faster than anyone predicted, even 5 years ago. These are not incremental milestones. They are signals of a civilizational shift. India is no longer watching the space economy take shape. India is helping to write it. We are in the most transformative period in the history of space since the 1960s. The critical difference is this. In the 60s, space was the domain of 2 superpowers. Today, it is the domain of thousands of actors, governments, startups, corporations, research institutions across more than 80 countries. This democratization of space is, at its core, a force for good. It means that weather data reaches farmers in Bihar and Burkina Faso. It means connectivity, bridging the last mile in the Amazon and in the Andes. It means Earth observation, giving climate scientists data that they could only have dreamed of a decade ago. But, and I say this as someone who has spent her career at the intersection of industry and international governance, with this democratization comes a profound and urgent responsibility. The orbital environment around our planet is a finite and shared resource. Let's be clear. While today there are approximately 10,000 active satellites in orbit, projections suggest that this number could exceed 100,000 by the early 2030s. Some projections even higher. We are adding satellites faster than we are developing the frameworks, norms, and technical standards to manage them responsibly. The consequences of getting this wrong are not abstract. Orbital debris already threatens operational satellites. A major collision event could render critical orbital bands unusable for generations. It would shut down GPS, weather forecasting, emergency communications, and financial clearing systems. The lives of billions of people who have never seen a rocket depend on the safety of the orbital environment. These are collective action problems, challenges that no nation, no company, and no visionary entrepreneur can solve alone. They demand that we act together as stewards of our shared space. Outer space belongs to all of humanity. That is not a sentiment, it's the law, enshrined in the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. The question for our generation is whether we will honor that inheritance or squander it. At UNOOSA, we are working urgently on exactly this question. The Long-Term Sustainability Guidelines of 2019, agreed by consensus within COPUOS, represent the most comprehensive multilateral framework we have. But guidelines are only as powerful as the commitments behind them. We are building capacity across the Global South. We are working with 130 member states to help them develop national space policies, space laws, and space agencies. We are convening dialogues on space situational awareness, spectrum coordination, and debris mitigation. And we are making the case every day that space must not become the privilege of a few. Space must remain a shared resource, a shared responsibility, and a shared opportunity as well. This brings me what I believe is the single most important theme of this Congress, the role of emerging space nations, of the Global South, as architects of the new space order, not merely as beneficiaries. For too long, the narrative has been that developing nations are recipients of space-derived services, and yes, they benefit enormously. But that framing misses something fundamental. The countries of the Global South are also nations most exposed to climate change, to natural disasters, to the disruptions that a broken orbital environment would cause. They have the most at stake, and increasingly, they have the capacity to act. India is proof of that, not only in its own achievements, but in what India offers its neighbours and partners through the SARC satellite, through Israel's capacity-building programs, through India's most successful UN-affiliated Centre for Space Science and Technology Education in Asia-Pacific, and through the governance frameworks that New Delhi is helping to shape in the international fora. India has a unique role to play as a bridge between the technologically advanced space powers and the nations who are still finding their footing, between the pace of commercial innovation and the patience required for effective diplomacy, and between national ambition and global responsibility. In a multipolar world where geopolitical tensions are fracturing international cooperation across many domains, India's ability to convene, listen, and build consensus is genuinely precious. Do not underestimate it. The question before this Congress is therefore not whether the space economy will grow. It will. The real question is how do we ensure it grows in a way that is equitable, sustainable, and governed in the interests of all humanity? I would suggest 3 things that we need to prioritize. First, trusted governance. The rapid growth of the commercial space sector must be matched by robust national legislation, transparent international norms, and inclusive multilateral frameworks. Innovation without governance is not progress, it is risk. Second, inclusive capability. We must invest not only in satellites and platforms, but in people, institutions, and policy frameworks across all regions. The future of the space economy will not be determined only by those who own the most advanced technology. It will be shaped by those who can convert technology into public value. Third, international cooperation. No country can manage the orbital environment alone. No country can address climate change alone. No country can protect the integrity of global positioning, Earth observation, or orbital sustainability alone. In an interconnected world, national ambition and international cooperation are not opposites. They are mutually reinforcing. Distinguished colleagues, I came to this role at UNOOSA having spent many years, nearly 3 decades, in the satellite industry, building businesses, navigating markets, and closing deals. And I thought I understood space. But what this role has taught me more than anything else is the scale of what becomes possible when space is truly put in the service of people. UNOOSA has met meteorologists in Bangladesh who use satellite data to give fishermen 48 extra hours of warning before a cyclone. We have met school teachers in rural Kenya whose students are connecting to the internet for the first time via satellite. We have met disaster response teams who reached earthquake survivors because satellites told them exactly where to look. Space is not about rockets. Space is about people. And the choices that we make, whether they're made in this room, in boardrooms, in parliaments, or in UN committees, about how we build a space economy, how we govern it, and how we share its benefits, these considerations will shape the lives of billions of people who will never attend a space congress, and who will never watch a launch, and who will never know how much they depend on what circles silently in the orbits above them. That is the weight of our responsibility. That is the magnitude of our opportunity. India Space Congress, I hope you will do justice to that opportunity. Please deliberate boldly, decide wisely, and help build a space future that all humanity can be proud of. Thank you. Dhanyavad.